The objective today is to explain the purpose behind Creative Commons. So basically I'll go over each of these licenses. They're pretty unique. What we've not started is creating our own work and putting a Creative Commons license on it. That's something I hope you will do in this class. What's currently in progress is learning the details about copyright and what's open source, what's okay to take and what's not okay to take. And what we've completed is at least a basic website about copyright, and we're going to just keep adding to that throughout this unit. So to begin, Creative Commons is an American nonprofit organization devoted to expanding the range of creative works available for others to build upon legally and to share. The organization has released several copyright licenses known as Creative Commons licenses, free of charge to the public. These licenses allow creators to communicate which rights they reserve and which rights they waive for the benefit of recipients or other creators. Think, Write, Share. Why would we need an organization to help people freely share their work? Well, if you look up here at the picture, it actually kind of gives you a hint as to why we would need an organization such as this. The variety of licenses the organization gives out will stipulate what the person who is borrowing or using the work of another person has to do to satisfy that person. That way they don't get angry over how the person is sharing their work. So if I created something really nice and positive, if I wrote the book Harry Potter, I would not want people to take this story and twist it and make it, maybe dark or strange. There might be things that I just want to be mindful of if people are borrowing my work. So the different licenses, the organization itself, exists so people don't get angry and yet they can still share their work. So here's an easy to understand one-page explanation of rights with associated visual symbols. They explain the specifics of each Creative Commons licenses. So just on this slide, there's CC standing for Creative Commons, and then this one is BY, then there's SA. You can have BY and NC together. You can have over here BY, NC, and SA together. So there's quite a few symbols that you can mix and match to determine which type of Creative Commons license you want people to follow. Creative Commons licenses do not replace copyright, but are based upon it. They replace individual negotiations for specific rights between copyright owner, licensor, and licensee, which are necessary under an all rights reserved copyright management, with a some rights reserved management employing standardized licenses for reuse cases where no commercial compensation is sought by the copyright owner. Think, Write, Share. What would a Creative Commons license be good for? How could this apply to everyday life? How could anyone use this in a way that helps them? The result is an agile, low overhead, and low cost copyright management regime, profiting both copyright owners and licensees. Wikipedia uses one of these licenses. As of January 2016, there were an estimated 1.1 billion works licensed under the various Creative Commons licenses. So this is a very popular thing, okay? As of March 2015, Flickr alone hosts over 306 million Creative Commons licensed photos. Think, Write, Share. When you think of two examples of Creative Commons, what or who do you think of? What would be good under Creative Commons? Creative Commons is governed by a board of directors. Their licenses have been embraced by many as a way for creators to take control of how they choose to share their copyrighted works. Creative Commons has been described as being at the forefront of the copyleft movement, which seeks to support the building of a richer public domain by providing an alternative to the automatic all rights reserved copyright. Your Think, Write, Share on here is, what does this diagram show you? Is this showing an increase or decrease in the liberties or freedoms people have using copyright versus Creative Commons? In other words, what color shows the most amount of freedom or openness? What color is showing the least amount of openness? Okay, on this slide I'll quickly go over each of the types of Creative Commons. The first one that says BY is for attribution. Others can copy, distribute, display, perform, and remix your work if they credit your name as requested by you. So if I create something and the only thing I want is people to give me credit for that, then I would do this symbol on my work, CC with the BY. So if I wrote Harry Potter and people can change the story or make up their own books and they could call those books Harry Potter, they can do so as long as they put my name in that work. The second one is no derivative works. So that is actually the exact opposite of what I just said. You can use my work, you can use my book. If I wrote Harry Potter, I love this example. You can use it, but others can only copy, distribute, display, or perform verbatim copies of my work. So if I wrote Harry Potter and you printed that out on your own computer, you printed out all those sheets, and you have it, you can give it to somebody and they can make copies of it as well. They can print it out as long as nothing about it is being changed. That's going to be okay. The third one, ShareAlike. This is the toughest of them all actually to understand, and then I will have another slide on it in a moment. But for now, it says others can distribute your work only under a license identical to the one you have chosen for your work. So I very rarely see, I've never seen ShareAlike being the only thing. So it's usually like ShareAlike and BY, or it's ShareAlike NC and BY. It's always this symbol with another symbol or two with it. The last one says NC for non-commercial, meaning others can copy, distribute, display, perform, or remix your work, but for non-commercial purposes only. So if I wrote the book Harry Potter and you made your own copies, you better not be selling it for money to somebody else. If it was a no derivatives work license, you can give those copies out, or you could even give them out and charge for them. But if there's the non-commercial license with it, you cannot be charging people for that work. So I know these are a little tricky. I think right share as a reflection for this slide, which one of these licenses could you imagine using the most yourself and why? If you're a real visual learner and you want to see a video about the Creative Commons, I suggest this one. It just breaks down exactly what I said for you, but in a different way and with more visuals. So let's talk a little bit more about the ShareAlike license. It says if you remix, transform, or build upon the material, you must distribute your contributions under the same license as the original. So if I wrote Harry Potter and somebody wants to remake that, not remake, but remix it. If I have this on there, they just need to say my name as credit. So this story was based on J.K. Rowling, and then they can use, they can remix it, change it up, and then they could even sell it. But if it says ShareAlike, they can sell their work, but the person who buys the work can also sell it for money. They can also remix it themselves, do a remix of the remix, and then share and sell it, but they have to always put that ShareAlike symbol on there, meaning other people can do the same thing they did to them that they're doing to me. That's ShareAlike. It also says here no additional restrictions. You may not apply legal terms or technological measures that legally restrict others from doing anything the license permits. So ShareAlike's tricky just because when you share it, you have to have the exact same symbols next to it as you found it. That's it for the lesson. Creative Commons is pretty short lesson. Choose one of these IB questions to answer and reflect on. And then the lesson itself is short, but the DOL is going to be a bit longer than what you're used to. So the demonstration of learning says use a picture from creativecommons.org or Flickr, and you'll have to adjust your search settings. I'll show you how to do that in a second. To support your explanation about the value of Creative Commons. You can use sentence starters with the picture to say something like this. Creative Commons is or isn't important because of blank, for example, blank. So when you type in Flickr right away on the home page, it'll ask you to sign in, but you could bypass that just by going to the search bar and searching for whatever. So you don't have to log in or sign up. So I type something just random like birds, So once you go to the search bar and search for an image of something you're interested in, you would have to go down to here, the settings, and don't do any license because Some of the first things that pop up are likely to be copyrighted pictures, but click the settings and go to all Creative Commons, and then it'll show you those things that will only have a license that is a Creative Commons type of license. And right here you'll see it says public domain. So there's just absolutely no restrictions on that picture. Okay, and then before I completely end the video, I just wanted to say you should check out the creativecommons.org website. It's interesting. And to be college-minded here, it says here as part of a university coursework, medical students edit and improve CC licensed Wikipedia articles that are viewed more than 22 million times over the year. So if you went to this college where Dr. Amin Azam is teaching, part of your classwork or your homework will be to go to CC licensed Wikipedia articles and contribute to them. I think it's just a really positive thing that this professor asks his students to do. So with that, make sure to pick at least one picture from either of these websites so I know that you have that skill of going out and searching for Creative Commons work, and then just use the sentence starters to let me know what your opinion about Creative Commons is.